Hello everyone, today we have new video review, and as you can see, this time we are going to talk about fresh release from ICM, and it comes in 148, actually in 1/72 scale. I'm just looking at the different kit which will be reviewed later, but today we are talking about 1/72 scale aircraft. It's a Ki-21-Ia Sally, so it's a Japanese heavy bomber, and here we have a commercial sample obviously, so you'll get exactly the same stuff as what you'll see in this video review, and it might be interesting for all fans of the Japanese aviation. And in small scale it won't take a lot of space, so that's why I decided to take a closer look. Note that the kit number is 72205, and the box size is quite typical for such kit. Here you can see comparison with my hand. We have beautiful box art here, and also on the side of the kit you'll find some information about this plastic model. So it's written that we have 163 parts, and wingspan should be 314 millimeters. And as I said, for 1/72 scale, this is rather impressive size, but it's still not as big as it could be in 148 scale. Here you can see 4 marking options, so I'm sure that they will be quite interesting to choose from, and who knows, maybe there are some additional in the box, so we will see it once we will be checking the assembly manual. What I'm doing now is cutting through the stickers. So box from ICM should be always sealed with this clear tape, so if it is cut through, it means somebody was opening it before you, and it's a good thing to question actually the seller why it was opened before you and check all the missing parts. But maybe it will also allow you to inspect the parts before getting this kit for your collection. As for the box structure, it is typical. As you can see, we have this flexible top section which is not providing any protection at all. This white cardboard box actually protecting the parts, and if I open it, here you can see that we have plenty of space, so the parts should arrive to you intact and there won't be any considerable damage. At least mine looks fine, even though it came via simple typical post. So it's a resealable plastic bag, so it should be quite easy to open. Just give me a moment. I will take all the parts out as usual, and we start with the fuselage cuffs. So they are molded on the separate sprues. Here you can see them a bit closer. Note that we have separate panels, even here and here. I wanted to say that even the door is here molded separately, but door is actually pre-molded, so this is quite interesting design. Of course, we have also the separate nose section, and if I flip over one of the part, you can see that we also have quite nice interior features, as well as the guiding pins, which will come handy for the proper alignment, because here you can see comparison with my hand. This is a steel bomber in 1/72 scale, not a fighter aircraft, therefore you should consider the size implications of that, let's say. Next we continue with the bigger plastic sprue, so I will place it here, and maybe let's zoom out first. So here you can see that we have top and bottom wing panels. We also have separate engine gondola parts. Also we have here the propellers. I can see some landing gear parts, some cockpit parts here, and everything looks fine more or less. If I zoom in, here you can see that we have nice external features. These are recessed panel lines and rivets, but keep in mind that they're not that deep, so in case you would like to preserve them, try not to overdo the paint and primer layers. As for the interior, we have some pre-molded features, but in case you would like to have more, then definitely go for aftermarket. I think Edward already produces some PE parts, so you can apply them and get a bit more sophisticated cockpit. And if we flip over these parts, here you can see that some of these parts have guiding pins. Obviously the wing halves, here are the engine gondolas, they have the guiding pins which will help you with overall alignment. And this is a must-have because, as you remember, wingspan is almost 30 centimeters, so it's not a joke. Next, we continue with 2 identical plastic sprues. These are sprues D. So here we have engine gondolas, actually engine parts and landing gear parts, not engine gondolas, because they will be placed in the engine gondolas obviously. But here you can see what I'm talking about. So it's always nice to see the engine actually included and not as a half, let's say, copy, which is just an insert. It's actually a nice engine in 1/72 scale. You can add some wiring here and it will be a really good result for out of the box feature. The same can be said about landing gear wheels, but obviously if you want to have more, then you can resort for some resin aftermarket. kit, which will bring more features to this aircraft. And again, if we flip it over, guiding pins everywhere where it's needed. So the overall engineering of this kit is well thought, I would say, and you shouldn't encounter any issues while building this model. The only thing is just to pay attention how everything goes together. Next, you can hear that I'm opening another plastic bag. It's because here we have a clear frame, so it was packed into a separate bag, and that's quite a nice thing because you won't get any scratch parts. As you can see here, we have quite beautiful canopies, so that's why it is important that they will be packed actually separately from the sprues so that they won't be scratched or any other damage will not be inflicted on them. Again, I think the mask templates should be included here, so in case you wonder how to mask all these tiny squares, it should be in the assembly manual, but we will look at this a bit later during this video. Next, we continue with the new sprue. So I guess here we have parts specific for this version. That means this tail fin. It's a slightly different shape as far as you can see. And also we have the tail wings, rudder, and ailerons here. Or these are elevators. I think these are elevators, so mainly all the tail section parts, and of course inside you will find the guiding pins, so it should be easy to align everything together. Next, we continue with another plastic sprue. So this is actually the last gray plastic sprue, and we can zoom out again. So here we have another side of the wing. We have the cockpit floor. As you can see, it's a complex shaped one-piece part, which looks good, and it means that you get the right, I would say, alignment, right placement of these parts out of the box. Here you can see another version of the tail section. So I think this one will not be used in today's build, but we will check it in assembly manual. And again, if we flip it over, here inside you can notice the guiding pins. And again, I'm glad to see this element here because some parts are quite tricky to get properly together, and it's always good to have some helping thing out of the box. Next, we have decals which are hidden in the assembly manual. So here we have only one decal sheet, and as you can see here we have all necessary symbols. We also have decals for the cockpit, no seat belts unfortunately. So as I said before, in case you would like to have the more detailed cockpit, go for P parts because it would be worth it, even in the 1/72nd scale. Next, assembly manual. So here it is. Let's close the camera a bit, or lenses, and zoom in a bit. Okay, so that's a color printed brochure. We have short history note and also technical specifications. We have colors charts, safety advices, and address of the manufacturer. Next, we continue with the parts map. So as I said, this tail section which we saw on the last sprue, it will not be used. We need to use parts from the new sprue, so be sure to check what you will be installing on your aircraft. Here we start with the fuselage assembly. So here, as you can see straight away, you combining together the fuselage halves together with the tail fin. Also, you start working on the cockpit, you paint the cockpit floor, and overall I can see that there are plenty of things included out of the box in the cockpit area, but as I said before, you can also get some aftermarket PE parts, which will add some fine features that cannot be copied in the original plastic, so you can copy them with a metal add-on. And here I can see that a lot of small parts are actually going in the tail area. I wonder why it was done like this, because it shouldn't be that visible on the finished aircraft unless you open the door. Note that we have also separate illuminator for the door, which is a nice touch. Next, we continue with the assembly of the canopy. So here we also install machine guns in the turrets. And next we continue with the tail wings, elevators, rudder. Wing starts to get assembled, and here it's worth noting that we have molded in flaps, so you cannot release or retract them on this aircraft, even though it could be nice. Only ailerons are separate. Next we continue with landing gear installation. Here we install the engine gondolas. And for the engines, as you remember, we have both engines nicely detailed, so it might be a good idea to expose them somehow, because it will look interesting on 1/72nd scale aircraft. Here we have whole page dedicated only to the masks templates. So as you can see, a lot of stuff to cut out, and this is actually a great thing that it is included in the original package, because otherwise you will have to buy it. And I know some others are lazy and still get pre-cut masks, for example, from Edward. Here you can see first marking option, so it's from 1939. Here we continue with 2 aircraft from 1940 and 1941. And one more from 1942. I think this one was on the box art, if I'm not wrong. So all of this stuff is already available, and you can get it in Modelimex webshop, for example. In my opinion, this is a decent choice for all modelers who would like to copy Japanese bomber. And of course, I will be happy to hear your opinion. Write it here in the comment section below. If you like this video, press the like button, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and I will see you in the next video review as usual. Thank you for joining me today, and bye.